So we'll shorten the start of this morning just to make sure we can get going, but have a go at a couple of these. Remember, they're targeted revision for you. The purpose of the Connect and Engage activity was twofold for this lesson. The first was some retrieval practice for an upcoming assessment. There were key skills in there I know that the class needed to revisit, and they've even requested to revisit. And the other purpose was to link to what we were doing this lesson. So by doing factorising single brackets, I needed that connection with what an expanding a bracket was, and to make sure they could do that. So that was formed a key part of my Connect and Engage to relate to their understanding later in the lesson. Now we're moving away from that probability that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks, okay? And we're moving now into a little bit of algebra, okay? That links really nicely with what you've been doing in Mrs. Portis's lessons, okay? We're going to look at how we factorise into single brackets, okay? We're going to look at what that means and how it relates to some of our key terminology, okay? What we're going to do as a thinking question is actually look at that question from our starter where I asked you to expand the bracket. And we're now going to look at how I go backwards from that. So if I gave you the answer, how would you then get back to where the bracket is? That's what I mean by factorising. What information do you think I would need to take out of this to then reintroduce a bracket on the left-hand side? What kind of things should I potentially be thinking about? Go on, Lily, what do you reckon?
Maybe the power is 2.
Okay, the power is 2 is really important to note because that is going to make a difference in how we approach it. Matty, have you noticed anything else?
What the numbers are similar to each other.
Okay, when you say similar to each other, oh, go on, sorry.
To each other.
Okay, keyword factors there, absolutely. What are the factors of each of those numbers? Okay, when you say a factor, just in case anyone doesn't remember what that word means, what do you mean?
What numbers can be used to make a number?
Yeah, numbers that go into that number, absolutely. Now, the final thing to look for is not just any factor that goes into those numbers, but I've only got one number on the outside of that bracket. Why have I chosen 5 there to be on the outside of that bracket, do you think? What is 5 uniquely in this case? What kind of factor am I potentially looking for?
Highest common factor.
Highest common factor. And that's going to be our whole process. What we're going to do is we're going to look for the highest common factor of each term, numerically and algebraically, and we're going to then pull that to the outside of the bracket, such that when we would expand it back out, we'd end up where we were. Now, that highest common factor thing is really important. So we're going to start off our lesson getting our ABCD cards out, and I want to see what you can remember about highest common factors and where I can help you with this. So, ABCD cards at the ready for me, please. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 terms up on the screen, and I'm going to ask you to vote for what you think is the highest common factor of those, okay? And then we can have a discussion afterwards. Please wait until I say to vote. I'm interested in what you do, not what the person next to you or you copying the person next to you, okay? So just vote when I say so that I get a really good snapshot. So we'll start with this one, okay? Can you find the highest common factor of 6 and 8? Which one of those options? Have a nice think. And then in 3, 2, 1, show me your answers. Please hold them up nice and high for me. Okay, we've got a mixture of answers here. I would say the predominant answer we've got is D, okay? 24 isn't the correct answer in this case. Jill, you've not gone for 24, so you clearly agree with me. Why do you think 24 couldn't be the correct answer here?
Because I think that's the lowest common multiple.
Spot on. Absolutely. So you've done some good maths if you've identified 24. It's just not the maths that we're interested in here. The highest common factor is the biggest number that goes into both. And you can't have 24 going into 6 and 8, okay? We're looking for numbers that are common to both, noting that they're both even, so 2 goes into both, and actually here there isn't a bigger number that goes in, okay? Really important we look for that highest common factor. Have a go at this one then for me, okay? With that in mind, 16 and 24, what is the highest common factor of this? Vote for me now, please. Okay, we got a lot more agreement on this one. In fact, I can see most people in agreement here, okay? I don't see anyone voting for B this time, which is really promising, because what would B represent in this pair? Go on, Gabe. Okay, and that's not the one we're interested in. So how then, Gabe, once you discounted that, how did you then decide which one was the correct answer?
Well, what you said last time, that it's the numbers that go into them. So I just thought what goes into them quite well, and I just thought it was easy.
Okay. Now, I like that logic, but I saw a couple of people out there go for A. And I would argue that 4 goes into both of them as well. So perhaps, why did you choose D over A, Toby?
I did D over A because although the join 8 is higher than 4, so it would be the highest common factor.
Perfect. I adapt my questioning based on the ABCD cards to pick up firstly on the misconceptions that arise and question where we may have got those from and potentially what we could do to avoid those. Sometimes I like to pick up on misconceptions that people haven't made that round just to address them anyway so that people can see how somebody else might have got to that answer and to really make that crystal clear moving forward. I like to adapt my questioning sort of who I target as well. So I use the ABCD cards then to kind of pigeonhole students to target later in the lesson. Okay, vote for me in 3, 2, 1. I just want to see your honest opinion. I decide which misconceptions to target, firstly based on experience from teaching this to other classes. Some misconceptions come up a lot more than others, and they're the ones I typically decide to discuss. But sometimes I have seen other students or other even teachers talk about their misconceptions that they've come across, and I try and build those in. And sometimes I use information previously from the class as well. So although it won't be directly related to that skill, I know, for instance, if they've had maybe a misconception with laws of indices, then that would come into one of the diagnostic questions with indices. Most people actually have gone for the same answer, okay? Caitlin, why have you voted for B?
Because X goes into both of them.
Okay, how did you see that X went into both of them?
There's an X on each.
Yeah, absolutely, okay. We've got a singular X term here, and this X squared, remember, represents X times X. So I can see that I've got an X going into both of them, okay? That then becomes our highest common factor. And we can now think about that being the case. It doesn't matter that it's an algebraic term, it goes into both, and it's the biggest number. Okay, so X is correct. The ABCD cards influence my next steps in the lesson by allowing me to see kind of what pace I can go at, what misconceptions there are, and which students I need to target. Sometimes it will show me that I need to slow down to make sure that people meet that key learning objective, which is what I needed to do today. But sometimes it'll allow me to say, okay, I can move on a little bit quicker or chuck something different out there and elicit another misconception. So it allows me to think on my feet and really get a good gauge of what the class can do and where I can help them moving forward. Okay, so I've given you a little bit of thinking time there. And I'd like you to show me your answer, please, in 3, 2, and 1. We have got 2 answers out there. We've got A and C out there. And I like both of them. I agree with one a little bit more than the other. Okay? If you voted A, you've done lots good. What have you missed, perhaps, if they voted A? Sella, why did you go for C and not A?
Because there is a t squared in both the 6t to the power 2 and 8t to the power 4.
Absolutely. What I really liked was people found that there's a highest common factor of the number, but what we've got to do is be really careful here. That would be t times t, and that would be t times t times t. How many are there common to both? Well, we've got 1 and we've got 2, and that would mean there is t squared in both. Okay. Overall, I'm happy that all of us have found the highest common factor of some terms. There's a couple of people I need to come and speak to later on in the lesson just to help with some of those algebraic ones. I don't think we need that task though, okay? I'm going to ask you to pop your ABCD cards away. I think we're well prepared to look at how we factorise into a bracket, and I can come and speak to a couple of you just to make sure we've got that algebraic bit in a second. The 3 pupils I chose to target during my circulation were 3 pupils who had given me mixed responses on the ABCD cards, some correct, some misconceptions, and also ones I tend to target at this stage in other lessons as well, because they often require a little bit of support just with odd parts of it, just based on their profile within the class. So if you couldn't, you would just leave it like that. Have another think though, because there is going to be some numerical factor there. But I like the question. Okay, so why are you getting the 2 from?
Oh wait, no, it's not highest.
it's a common factor, but what perhaps is going to be bigger that goes in? Spot on. But I really like that you found the algebraic term. Good, James, absolutely. Remember also to think about your numbers as well. Okay, so here we want to make sure this is our highest common factor. So look at my examples. That first stage was for me to find the highest common. I haven't gone straight to the division. So break it down. What is the biggest number that goes into 20 and 12?
4.
Okay, so that's your numerical highest common factor. Is there now an algebraic term that goes into both? And I want to see kind of where we're at, coming towards the end of the lesson, what do I need to pick up with at the start of next lesson? So, we'll start with this one, okay? I want you to factorise 3x plus 6 for me, okay? One of those is the correct answer. Use your whiteboard to work it out, and then when I say, hold the card up. But please let everyone have a go. Otherwise, this is not useful information for me. I evaluate the effectiveness of the ABCD cards. Firstly, against the learning objectives for the lesson, it allows me to see whether students have hit those, and in this case I could see all were able to do a particular skill, most were able to do something else. It allows me to see which students have got misconceptions, but then also whether they have come out of those misconceptions. There were several students in this lesson who had a misconception, who made a mistake, but on the next round of questions did not make that same mistake again. And that for me is that's showing progress. That's exactly what I want to see, that visible progress, so that I can then keep pushing them and challenging them further. So, if you can please show me your answer card in 3, 2, and 1. We seem to have some unanimous agreement here. Okay, that's really positive. I can see boards here at the front that have got really nice workings on. What I did see a couple of people do was get to probably slightly towards the wrong answer and then just see which one would fit. I saw a couple of people write 3x on the outside of the bracket and then x plus 6 in the middle, okay? Why is that not correct in this case to have a 3x? Other than it's not one of my options, obviously. Why is it not correct? Go on, Ethan, what do you reckon?
Because the x is only on the 3 and not on the 6.
Okay. We haven't got two algebraic terms here. So our highest common factor is just numerical. There is no algebraic terms that we need to factorise out, okay? So 3x plus 2 is the correct one. So, have a go at this one for me. 6y minus 18. Again, use your whiteboards to help you.
Just to lay it out and the work.
So, I would lay it out exactly like this, okay? I would write your highest common factor, do the divisions, and then write the answer, okay? But that's why I want you to hold the card so that I don't have to read your whole board. Good. Okay, show me your answers then in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, that's nice. Excellent. And you know what? Just from wandering around, the couple of people I saw make that mistake on the first one did not make the mistake on the second. So well done. 6y minus 3 is absolutely spot on. So if we can just have a go at this one, but this will help me then know where I can pick up in the next lesson. Okay, and if you can please show me your answers then in 3, 2, 1. A couple of people still deciding, but other than those, we've got unanimous agreement there. Okay, we've got unanimous agreement that P is the correct answer